Good morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is the English Bulletin with me, Anustha Acharya. The top stories first. Employees of Nepal Telecom demand MD from within the organization wants of further protest if includes interference country. Government alarmed by increase in drug abuse cases prepares narcotics prevention and control master's plan to counter drug abuse. Nepal to export additional 325 megawatt electricity to India. NEA can now export electricity generated from 6 projects. Russia hit with a new round of sanctions. Biden decrees Macron's war crimes in Ukraine. And Benzema delivers masterclass in Champions League. The Frenchman scores hat-trick to sink Chelsea. CPN-UML chairman KP Sharma Oli has alleged that the country has been heading towards a disaster. Addressing a program in a capital yesterday, Oli said environment for investment in the country. He added that the country has been heading towards a disaster and the situation will not improve as long as the current government remains in power. He said that the country is facing existential crisis as the banks do not have money to lend. Oli said that the coalition government will fall but made it clear that they will not make any such attempt. He added that the UML is focused on election instead of government. Employees of Nepal Telecom have been staging protest demanding the appointment of managing director of Nepal Telecom from among the employees. On Wednesday, the Nepal Telecom Workers Union organized a meeting at the central office of Nepal Telecom to warn the authorities and demanded the appointment of a senior person within the telecom as the managing director. While the government is preparing to fill the vacant post of managing director, the employees have warned that the post should not be filled by an outsider. Chairman of the Central Committee of the Nepal Telecom Workers Union Rajendra Prasad Joshi said that the managing director should be a person who understands the organization and has proper knowledge of the organization. Stating that Nepal Telecom is facing external interference, he said that the employees have issued a warning to get rid of such undue interference.
नेपाल टेलिकममा यो बाह्य हस्तक्षेपबाट होइन संस्था बुझेको मान्छे र संस्था बुझेको मान्छेले मात्र यो संस्थालाई ड्राइभ गर्न सक्छ। संस्थाको उन्नतिको लागि, संस्थाको प्रगतिको लागि र संस्थालाई एउटा दिगो जीवन्तता दिनको लागि पनि यहाँको सिनियर सरहरू म्याडमहरू नै यहाँको एमडी हुनुपर्छ भनेर हामी भन्दै आइरहेका छौँ।
The union objected to the change in various criteria of the appointment of the managing director of Nepal Telecom. The Ministry of Home Affairs has expressed serious concerns regarding the rising cases of drug abuse in the country. A report. Speaking at a press conference organized at the Home Ministry yesterday, Home Secretary Teknarayan Pandey informed that the number of drug users have been rising in the country. As a result, criminal activities has been rising in the country. It has posed a serious challenge to national security, added the Home Secretary. Under Secretary Gokarna Prasad Upadhyaya informed that the latest survey in 2076 revealed that there were 130,424 drug abusers in the country. Among them, 8,371 were women. According to the latest data, 26,000 inmates, which constitute 21% of total jailbirds, have been serving jail terms on drug-related cases. Upadhyaya informed that altogether 462 people, including 147 foreign nationals, have been arrested on charges of drug abuse in the current fiscal year. The government has prepared the Narcotics Prevention and Control National Master Plan to substitute the Narcotics Control Act 2033 BS, which was enacted and implemented nearly 45 years ago. The 5-year master plan has been prepared in view of the increasing criminal activities globally due to the growing drug trafficking and abuse and the youth force of the country becoming useless due to drug abuse. It aims to prevent the drug abuse and trafficking by creating awareness in society. The master plan prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs will be enforced from next year itself. Home Secretary Teknarayan Pandey said the master plan has been prepared to hit at the root cause of drug trafficking. The number of drug users in Nepal was estimated to be more than 50,000 as early as 10 years ago. Due to unplanned urbanization, increase in the effects of organized crime network, and expansion of so-called urbanization, it can be estimated that this number has increased in recent days. This problem appears to be prevailing increasingly in almost all urban areas including Kathmandu Valley, Pokhara and Dharan and market areas of Nepal-India border. Particularly, the trend of drug abuse and its addictions is increasing among the youth belonging to the vulnerable groups. A Nepali peacekeeper who sustained injuries in a peacekeeping mission in Congo on Tuesday has succumbed to his injuries. According to Nepalese Army spokesperson Narayan Silwal, peacekeeper Anil Gurung, a permanent resident of Surkhet, died in course of the Operation Bali. He was injured in the firing opened by the rebel force on Tuesday, Silwal added. Injured Gurung was rescued and airlifted to Level 2 hospital in Bunyan for treatment. Nepali peacekeepers have been deployed in the stabilization mission of the Democratic Republic of Congo at the invitation of the United Nations UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that the attack believed to be carried out by Cooperative Parle Development due to Congo took place while troops from the UN mission were in Bali of Ituri province in Congo. The Secretary General expresses his deepest condolences to the family of the fallen peacekeepers as well as to the government and the people of Nepal, said that a statement issued by the Nepalese army. The statement added that attacks against United Nations peacekeepers may constitute a war crime. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. Finance Minister Janata Sharma underlined the urgency of making resolution to develop the dry port as an export center. The government yesterday confirmed 10 new cases of COVID-19 across the country. According to the Ministry of Health and Population, the number of active cases of COVID-19 has dropped to 765 after 57 people recovered from the disease. So far, a total of 978,538 people have tested positive for the virus in Nepal, while 965,822 people have recovered from the disease. No new death from the virus was reported yesterday. The death toll from the virus remains constant at 11,951. Nepal is currently among top 60 countries that have been affected by the virus. USA tops the list with 91.94 million cases, followed by India with 43.03 confirmed cases. The virus has infected more than 495.01 million people worldwide and claimed over 6.19 million lives. Finance Minister Janata Sharma underlined the urgency of making resolution to develop the dry port as an export center. A report. Finance Minister Janata Sharma said that the remittance and import-based economy is risky for Nepal and stressed that the highly inaugurated Chobar dry port should be developed as a center for exporting goods. At a program organized following the inauguration of the dry port by Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba on Tuesday, Finance Minister Sharma said the dry port should be strategically used to increase export of food items and agro-based goods. The Finance Minister also highlighted the need of moving towards self-dependence by converting labor and natural resources into capital. He further expressed the readiness on part of the government to collaborate with private sector and cooperatives for the same. Presenting the data related to import and export on the occasion, he said Nepal's import has been estimated to be around Rs 1,308 billion as of mid-March 2022, and this has increased by 38% in comparison to last year. He further shared the country's export stands at rupees 147 billion in the last 8 months, which is slightly better than in the previous year. The minister added that COVID-19 pandemic followed by Russia-Ukraine war have added serious challenges to the country's economy. As of mid-March, the country's foreign exchange reserves were equivalent to rupees 940 billion, he said, adding the reserves were enough to manage imports of goods for at least 6 months. After negotiations for a long time, India has finally agreed Nepal to export 325 megawatts of power to the Indian market on competitive rate, a report. Given the approval from the Central Electricity Authority of India, Nepal Electricity Authority would export additional 325 megawatt of hydroelectricity into the Indian energy market. Prior to this, in November 2021, India had given approval for the export of 39 megawatt of power in the Indian Energy Exchange generated from NEA in Nuwakot district. In the second phase, Nepal has received approval to export 325 megawatt hydroelectricity power produced from Kaligandaki A 114 megawatt, Mid Marsangdi 68 megawatt, Marsangdi 67 megawatt and Likhu 51 megawatt. Executive Director of NEA Kulman Kising said. With this, the NEA has got a nod to export the power to India from 6 hydropower projects. The surplus power would be exported via Dhalkebar Muzaffarpur 400 kV cross-border transmission line. Organizing a news conference at the Ministry of Energy on Wednesday, Minister for Energy Pampha Bhusal said that the export of surplus power to India would help make positive contribution to economy by reducing Nepal's trade deficit. Bhusal said India's decision to purchase Nepal's surplus power is a positive step. Minister Bhusal said Nepal is in need of a big market which has now been expanded. And now the news from economic front. The World Bank has pledged to provide support to the government's effort for promoting employment within the country. The World Bank made such commitment during a courtesy call paid to the Minister for Labour, Employment and Social Security by its delegation led by the bank's regional director, Lion Pinch. On the occasion, matters related to the effectiveness of the World Bank's funded projects were also discussed according to the Labour Minister's Secretariat. Labour Minister Krishna Kumar Shrestha said the World Bank's support has been helpful in the implementation of the government-adopted strategy for promotion of internal employment. Minister Shrestha thanked the World Bank for its support to the Youth Employment and Transformation Initiative project under the Prime Minister Employment Programme to generate employment opportunities for youths within the country. The World Bank has backed the improvement of integrated employment management information system to collect personal details of unemployed person, his or her knowledge, skills and experience, potential area of employment, labor market demand by supply sides. World Bank's regional director Lin expressed the bank's readiness to support Nepali people living in disadvantaged and vulnerable life in collaboration with the government development partners and the private sectors. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back. Now the international news. The United States targeted Russian banks and elites with a new round of sanctions on Wednesday, including banning Americans from investing in Russia in response to what President Joe Biden condemned as major war crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine. The new sanction hit Russia's Sberbank, which holds one-third of Russia's total banking assets, and Alfa Bank, the country's fourth largest financial institution, U.S. officials said. But energy transactions were exempted from the latest measures, they said. The United States is also sanctioning Russian President Vladimir Putin's two adult daughters, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's wife and daughter, and senior member of Russia's Security Council, the official said. There's nothing less happening than major war crimes, Biden said in a speech to labor leaders, referring to the Ukrainian town of Bucha retaken from Russian forces, where bodies of civilians shot to death had been found. Grim images emerging from Bucha include a mass grave and the bodies of people shot at close range, some of them bound, prompting calls for tougher action against Moscow and an international investigation. Russia, which says it launched a special military operation in Ukraine on February 24, denies targeting civilians and said images of the deaths were staged by the West. Britain also froze spur banks, assessed and said it would ban imports of Russian coal by the end of this year as part of the coordinated Allied effort to starve Putin's war machine. Kiev was Russian defeat for the ages. The fight started poorly for the invaders and went downhill from there, a report. When President Vladimir Putin launched his war on February 24, after months of build-up on Ukraine's border, he sent hundreds of helicopter-borne commandos, the best of Russia's special forces soldiers, to assault the seas, a light-defended airfield on Kiev doorstep. Other Russian forces struck elsewhere across Ukraine, including towards the eastern city of Kharkiv, as well as in the contested Donbas region and along the Black Sea coast. But as the seat of national power, Kiev was the main prize, thus the thrust by elite airborne forces in the war's opening hours. But Putin failed to achieve his goal of quickly crushing Ukraine's outgunned and outnumbered army. The Russians were ill-prepared for Ukrainian resistance, proved incapable of adjusting to setbacks, failed to effectively combine air and land operations, misjudged Ukraine's ability to defend its skies, and bungled basic military functions like planning and executing the movement of supplies. There's a really bad combination if you want to conquer a country, said Peter Mansour, a retired army colonel and professor of military history of Ohio State University. For now, at least Putin's forces have shifted away from Kiev to eastern Ukraine. Ultimately, the Russian leader may achieve some of his objectives, yet his failure to seize Kiev will be long remembered for how it defied pre-war expectations and exposed surprising weaknesses in a military thought to be one of the strongest in the world. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Chelsea's hold on the Champions League hangs precariously after Karim Benzema's hat-trick put Real Madrid in a position of power following the quarter-final first leg at Stamford Bridge. Real coach Carlo Ancelotti made a winning return to the club, where he won the Premier League and FA Cup double after veteran France striker Benzema delivered his latest masterclass. Benzema, 34 and fresh from the terrible that song Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16, punished holders Chelsea with two magnificent headers in the space of 3 minutes midway through the first half. Kai Havertz's header gave Chelsea hope before the break, but keeper Edouard Mendy's poor clearance seconds after the restart gifted Benzema his third to put Real in command of the tie before the second leg at the Bernabeu next Tuesday, 12th April. National Sports Council member Secretary Tangkalal Ghising has reassumed his responsibilities as the head of the sports governing body on Wednesday. A meeting of the Council of Ministers on November 29, 2021 had appointed Ghising as the member secretary of NSC, a report. The then member secretary, Ramesh Silwal, has filed a writ petition at the Supreme Court against Ghising's appointment, arguing that government sacked him before completion of his full term. A cabinet meeting on October 18 had decided to sack Silwal from his post. Responding to the writ petition, a single-bench Justice Hari Fuyal had issued an interim order on December 16, 2021 not to move forward the appointment process of the new member secretary. However, a division bench of Supreme Court Justices Anil Kumar Sinha and Kumar Regmi on April 5 quashed the petition filed by Silwal, thereby paving the way for Ghising to reassume his office. Member Secretary Ghising took charge of his office after 3 months and 3 weeks. After assuming his office, Kissing said this period was difficult for the entire Nepali sports fraternity. According to Kissing, it caused irreparable loss to the sports sector. The sports sector could not move ahead as planned. Now the obstacles have been removed to move ahead, said Kissing. Kissing received a warm welcome from NSC Vice President Siva Koirala, Acting Member Secretary Kulbahadur Thapa, as well as departmental heads, division chiefs, players, coaches, and NSC employees. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. Employees of Nepal Telecom demand MD from within the organization warn of further protest if undue interference continues. Government alarmed by increase in drug abuse cases prepares narcotics prevention and control master plan to counter drug abuse. Nepal to export additional 325 megawatt electricity to India. NEA can now export electricity generated from 6 projects. Russia hit with new round of sanctions. Biden decries major war crimes in Ukraine. And Benzema delivers masterclass in Champions League. The Frenchman scores hat-trick to sink Chelsea. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.